Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It is a brand new week. Oh, and this is an exciting week because it is the week of Halloween. So this coming Saturday, lots of you will be trick-or-treating in different places. Maybe you already have. There's going to be lots of fun things going on. And this Friday, we're going to have our Halloween party at Just Lee. And we're going to have a really good time. And we also have some other exciting things going on this week. And so it's just going to be a big one. And then on Wednesday is going to be fun because some of us are going to be going to a camp bash. And so we'll be leaving Just Lead early and going to do our thing there. And so, this week's going to fly, guys. It really is. Today, I want us to, we're going to be finishing up this week on our story about that certain man that we've been learning about from the Bible. What's his name? It's Gideon. That's right. And today, I want to share with you what happened when Gideon and his men fought the battle. So remember, God said, Gideon, want you to take your men, go fight those Midianites. And remember, Gideon just didn't feel like he could do it. And then, after he finally accepted God's command to him, then God goes and tells him, don't take all these men. You got lots of men. You don't need them. Don't take all these men. And he sent a lot of men home. So now Gideon has got these men with him, and they're going to go fight the Midianites. And he's got 300 men. And he gave each of his 300 men something kind of interesting. So he gave them clay jars. This is not a clay jar, but back in the Bible days, they had jars like these that were clay. And he gave them, and inside of it was a torch. So I kind of brought my lighter to represent the torch. So they were inside the clay jars, okay? And not only did he give him the jars with the torch inside of it, he also gave them a trumpet. And so God tells Gideon to tell these men to do something special with these things. So he said, all right. He said, tell the men you're going to go and march, and you're going to stand around the camp that the Midianites are in. And Gideon says, when we get there, he says, wait for me because I'm going to blow my trumpet. And when I do that, what you're going to do is take these clay jars and you're going to smash them. And they didn't really know that there was going to be a torch that was going to come out of these clay jars. Man, get this thing to work. Well, anyways, they didn't know that the torch was going to come out of the clay jars, but he said, wait for me, and I'm going to signal you, and then you're going to do it, and then you're going to blow your trumpet. So they go up, and they surround the Midianites, and Gideon blows his trumpet. Can you blow your trumpet? Can you pretend like you have a trumpet? And when he did that, his men took their jars and smashed them on the ground, and it blew fire up because the torches were inside of it, and then they blew their trumpets. And guess what happened? So God made the Midianites, the enemies, he made them turn on each other and fight each other. So Gideon and his men didn't even have to really fight. They just had to do what God told them to do. And they won. And then no longer were those mean Midianites in charge of Gideon and his people. Now, Gideon did not feel that he mattered. He told God that he came from the smallest and weakest tribe of Israel. Then he was afraid and unsure because his army was much smaller than the enemy army. However, Gideon still obeyed God, and God brought them a victory against their enemies. We have learned this month that nothing is impossible with God. God calls us to be warriors, and He gives us strength and power that we need. You know, sometimes we just think that we just can't do something. But with God, you can do anything. With God, anything is possible. And that's why. Where do we get commands from God? The Bible. So if anything is impossible with God, what do you think we ought to do with these commands? Yeah, we ought to be like Gideon and we ought to follow them. It's very important. All right, guys, we actually had a short story today because of something else we're about to do. But I want us to do our memory verse. Okay, we should know it by now. So let's do the motions. Remember, this is for light. This is for others. This is for see and good that you do. This is for praise your Father in heaven. All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Make your light shine so that others will see good that you do and will praise your Father in heaven. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. And y'all, let's do it one more time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Make your light shine so that others will see good that you do and will praise your Father in heaven. Very good. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. Good job, guys. All right, so today we're going to do something a teensy bit different, and I really need your listening ears because we are going to be practicing what we do if there's an emergency. So there's a few different kinds of emergencies that we're going to practice for. So number 1, we're going to practice if there's ever a fire in the building. Number 2, we're going to practice if there is tornadic weather in the area. And then 3, we're going to practice if there is an unsafe person that comes in our building. All right, so let's tackle the fire drill first. Now, so what's going to happen when the fire alarm goes off? The fire alarm is going to go off and make a big loud noise. And your teachers are going to know that that means there's fire. And in this case, when we practice, it's just a drill. But they're going to know what that is. And what you're going to do, you're going to very quickly line up at the door. Now, let me ask you something. If we're in a hurry to run for our lives, do you think that you ought to be arguing over who gets first in line? No. Whoever gets there first is who gets there first, and you don't argue. Now, after you get in line, you got to walk down the hallway, and you've got to walk quickly, and you got to walk quietly. Because let's say that we don't walk quietly, and we're laughing and running and giggling and all this good stuff. What's going to happen if for some reason someone gets lost because they're goofing off? You could get caught in the fire. What's going to happen if, let's say, someone else from another group hears your group being crazy and they're trying to concentrate and they get sidetracked? What could possibly happen to them? They could get in the fire and get hurt. So it's very important that you get in line and you don't talk. And you walk down the hallway quickly and quietly. Now, where you're going to go, so you're going to go out your classroom door and you're going to go to where our greenway is, which is across the street from our parking lot. And your teachers will lead you there. So if I'm you and the fire alarm goes off, here's what I do. I'll try to do this on my phone so you can see me. Yep. I'm going to go to my door. I get in line just like this. When I walk down the hallway, I want you to pay attention to how I sound. I go down the hallway in a fire drill. Watch. Did you hear any sound from me? No, because in a fire drill, it is very important that you don't talk and you don't be loud and crazy. Okay, so what is it very important that you do? You don't talk and you don't be loud and crazy. All right, that's the fire drill. Okay, if you will stay in line and you will not talk and follow your teacher, you will be fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, now the second one is tornadic weather. So that means when there's really stormy weather that's very, very strong that could do damage to our building, what are we going to do? So so that is something that Mr. Matt will have to let us know. There's not an intercom system that goes off or anything. There is just Mr. Matt that comes around and tells me there's a tornado in the building or there's a tornado in the area, we need to take cover. Then I come around and let all the teachers know. Here's what you do. Now, I'm going to try and let you see this as best as I possibly can. So I'm going to actually get on top of my bed to do this. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to be in the hallway where your classroom door is, and you're going to be on the ground is where you're going to be. But I'm going to show you how you should look on my bed up here. All right, so if you're outside your classroom door and you're on the ground, this is how you should look. Okay, you should be facing the wall. Your head should be down. See, my head's not up. My head is down. And your hands need to be on top of your head so that it protects it. Okay? So see, I'm facing the wall and I'm protecting myself. All right? Now, that is a tornado drill. Or that's what we do when we have a tornado. Now, the thing is that when that happens, you should stay that way until we tell you that it's safe to go back into the classroom, okay? So under no circumstances should you get out there and then just decide on your own, oh, I'm done being like this. You should wait for Mr. Matt or me or your teacher to tell you, you can stand up, we're going back in the classroom now, or wherever you're supposed to be, okay? Now, for a stranger, for someone that is unsafe in the building. Now, there's some different things that can happen here. Sometimes there is a stranger that is outside of our building. Okay, so what we're going to do for that is we're going to pick a spot in our classroom to go and hide. Okay, so that means the lights go off. If we have time to close the blinds, we'll have the teachers close the blinds, and then you go and you hide in your classroom. So you find a spot in your classroom to go and hide, okay? Your teacher will pick that spot out for you. And the main thing for you to do, what do you think? If there is someone that's unsafe and you got to hide from this person, what should you not do at all? Don't talk. Don't talk, don't laugh, don't scream, don't do any of that. Because if you do, what's going to happen to that person that's unsafe? They're most likely going to find you because they can hear you. So please don't make any noises. That is number one priority. Now, say there's someone unsafe in the building. Okay, so here's what you do then. Your teachers and you will sneak out the windows in your classroom, and we will practice that. You'll sneak out the windows in your classroom and you will go up by, okay, so group 3, you go up by the church office is where you go. And group 1 and group 2, you guys, I believe, are going behind around like where the courtyard is. You go all the way out the gate and around the building, and you hide around the building. That's where you go, okay? So your teachers will know that, but your goal is to, if you've got to hide in the classroom, to get there quickly to wherever it is and not talk. And not what? And not talk. No talking whatsoever, okay? And then if there's an unsafe person that is in our building and you've got to go out the window, okay, your job is to get out the window quickly and quietly. I mean, you don't say a word, because if you laugh or talk, what's going to happen to that person that's in the building? They're probably going to find you. So remember, you're going quietly and you're going quickly. No pushing in line, because if you push, someone's going to scream and then someone's going to get hurt probably. So in all 3 cases, we're going quickly, and we're going quietly. Okay? All right, so fire drill, remember, you go get in line, you follow your teacher out the door. Your teacher knows where to go. Tornado drill, remember, you're getting down in that position with your hands over your head. And then the stranger drill, if we have an unsafe person, if they're in the building, you go out the window. If they're outside the building, you go to a spot in your classroom and you hide when wherever your teacher tells you to go, okay? So it's very important that we get these down, guys, because if God is always in control and we have a place to go to Just Lead that we feel like is very safe for all of us to come, and a place where we think is a fun place for you to be. But we need to be ready if these things ever happen. So we're going to be practicing these this week, and I really need you to be ready for it, okay? But for now, just remember, I love you, we love you, and God loves you. Have a great day.